Okay. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the webinar with RentalReady and PriceLabs. I'm Atul. I'm a solutions consultant at PriceLabs, and I lead the markets of Asia and Africa for PriceLabs. And here we also have Andres.
Hello.
Yeah. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, Andres?
Yeah, I'm Andres. Work for RentalReady, property management software. I handle different markets, but I do have to say that the UAE Dubai market's one of my favorites. So yeah, this webinar is gonna to provide you with some cool insights and different topics. So yeah, Tula, let's kick it off.
Yeah, perfect. So possibly, yeah, we can give a few minutes for others to join in as well. And then we can get it kicked off fully. But I'm going to start sharing the deck that I'm going to present. So let's go ahead with that. Just share screen. And everyone who is in the audience, if you have any questions, you have anything you want to ask, please feel free to use the Q&A. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Can you... Yeah, perfect. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay, guys. So we're going to kick things off. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about PriceLabs, then a little bit more about RentalReady as well, and then we're going to jump in the end to some market data and yeah, what we're seeing in the Dubai market, how it looks for the future months as well. And a few things to keep in mind. We are recording this and we are going to send you all the recording. So yeah, you're going to have all of the data, everything we go through in this webinar with you at the end. Use the Q&A for questions. So we are going to run through all of the questions towards the end. So use the Q&A, and you can also use the chat to react and let us know about everything as well. Yeah. So 30 minutes, and yeah, want it to be interactive. I personally prefer in-person events. We usually do that. We can have a nice chat with everyone and good amount of reactions. But since we're doing this online, please do use the emojis or reactions and let us know how you're feeling, or just put it into the chat or whatever comments you have. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, we've already quickly introduced ourselves, so we can go ahead. And first, I'll give a quick introduction about PriceLabs. So PriceLabs started initially in 2014. We price over 500,000 listings actively. I think, yeah, currently that number's hit about 550,000. We have a team all over the world, right? We price all kinds of listings as well. So short term, mid-term, serviced apartments or apart hotels, villas, hotels, all of these different segments. And going forward, our products, right? So we have 4 products that we offer. First and foremost, dynamic pricing, what we're best known for. We maximize revenue by changing rates automatically with using the best market data and maximizing your revenue through adjusting the ADR and occupancy in the right way, right? And this ends up generating, on average, we see about 26% increase in revenue, and also saves a bunch of time of all of you hosts or property managers. So that's what dynamic pricing does. We also have portfolio analytics that is giving you analysis of the past performance, how it's changing month on month or year on year. It's making things better. So you have complete access to all of this data. And then we also have Market Dashboards and Revenue Estimator Pro, which I think is also really important in the context of this webinar and what we're talking about, because Market Dashboard gives you access to the data of an entire region. So when we're talking about Dubai, for example, you could create a dashboard for downtown Dubai, right? Or Dubai Marina, and you can actually check what is happening in the market, what are the revenues looking like, what are the booking windows looking like, what kind of amenities are people providing, what is the usual cancellation policy that they're using. And you gain all of this access to this data, not only to price and sort of set the strategy for your own listings, but also to share with owners and set expectations, right? That this is how the market is doing things. This is how we are going to be doing things. So you can also make sure that your strategies are sort of aligned with the market. And Revenue Estimator Pro as well gives you instant revenue estimates for any location, which are also going to be very important for investors, for owners, on exactly what you're going to be expecting to see with the revenue for the next year. Yeah, perfect. Going forward, just a little bit about why it's important to use dynamic pricing, right? Compared to fixed pricing, we don't, in fixed pricing, demand surges, seasonal trends, and this we see a lot in the Dubai market. Right? It's changing year on year. Even something, for example, as predictable as Ramadan, where the month was in March this year, even those demand drops or surges change from year to year. So this year's Ramadan was not exactly how last year's Ramadan was. Um, then this year's low season is different from how last year's low season went, right? And the peak season as well. This year's peak season is already pacing quite well, and yeah, it might end up going better than last year's peak season. So all of these um, make a change, so it we allow you to optimize on all of these demand trends, um, mm, getting the optimum occupancy as well, because the highest occupancy is not always the optimum occupancy, right? We can have, possibly, if you're running at, let's say, 90% occupancy for a particular month, it might be possible during that month to actually drop it to 85% occupancy by increasing prices, and even then getting much better revenue for that month. Yeah. So also there's a ton of competition. A lot of this competition is also using dynamic pricing and sophisticated software, and shouldn't sort of get left behind. So these are few reasons why it is important that you consider and you use dynamic pricing. This is how it works in a nutshell, where scraping data from multiple channels on a daily basis, right? Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, and then we have our own internal events and holidays database as well. Once we scrape all of this data, we're processing it, removing duplicate listings, ghost listings, which just are present in the market but don't ever get any bookings. Yeah, we remove all of this, clean up the data, and then we add our hyperlocal recommendations. So for every listing, for every date, it's going to have a recommended price coming from PriceLabs. On top of this, you can always customize so that your strategy is followed and it's not just the generic pricing. So you put in your own strategy in this. Maybe some owners and some listings you prefer to have a higher minimum price, a higher ADR. That's the focus there. Whereas for other listings, you might be focusing a little more on occupancy, right? So you can customize things according to how you want to run your listings. And then we automatically sync prices. So, for example, to Rental Ready, we'll be syncing prices every day. And automatically, Rental Ready will be pushing this to all of the channels that you're connected to, right? So yes, this is how it works in a nutshell. And then always we'll be able to review the performance and see how things are going, things are improving. Perfect. Again, just why is it important? With so many different data points changing every day, it is becoming increasingly difficult to track everything and be on top of the seasonality, events, holidays, how's the weekend versus the weekdays, the lead times. Are people now booking 20 days in advance? Are they booking 10 days in advance? All of these different factors make it really challenging to track everything and update your prices on a regular basis. But if you don't update your prices and track all of this on a regular basis, you could end up falling behind when it comes to the competition, right? So this is where it's really important, especially if you want to save some time and space for scaling your business. It's important that you don't focus only on running your current business, right? If you end up spending a lot of time just running the number of listings you have today, then it's going to be really tough to scale as you get as you go further, right? Where again, where it's really important to use the technology that you have today, such as Rental Ready, PriceLabs, the solutions. So yeah, it's important to use the technology, especially where short-term rentals in general, this industry, I think, yeah, has been a little underserved overall. Again, considering it's a new industry, it is understandable. But yeah, when in hotels, airlines, all of this, we have a lot of technology that's available. Now we have it for the short-term rental industry as well. So make the most of it. All right. So it is. Yeah. Do you want to take over and run
Yes.
through this? Yeah,
Yes.
perfect.
Perfect. So let me share my screen really quick. Let me just set it up. Two screens here. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
perfect.
All right. So again, thank you everybody for taking the time to learn a little bit more about PriceLabs, about Rental Ready. So I already did a quick introduction about myself, right? So I'm Andres, I'm an account executive, and my day-to-day basically consists in talking to people, property managers, just like you, and helping them understand or or understanding what their challenges are and what they're facing on a day-to-day basis, right? Whether it's regarding operations, maybe they want to automate, maybe they want to implement AI, they want to be more compliant, or overall just grow, right? So that's a little bit about me, right? So I currently cover the UK, Spanish, and Portuguese markets, and the UAE, right? And I do have to say that the Dubai market is definitely one of my favorite ones because mainly it's due to the huge growth potential and the overall appetite of companies here that are looking to invest in or trying to find smarter ways to work. So this said, I know that we're in a webinar, and I know that sometimes webinars can be a little bit a hit or a miss. So I always like to answer, like, why should you pay attention to a tool? Why should you pay attention to me? And basically, it's because over the last year, I've had more than 500 conversations with property managers just like you, right? And the insights that I'm going to be sharing today are coming directly from those real world discussions and how this market is actually working, right, from the property management perspective. So by the end of this session, my goal is very simple. I want you to know and learn about the key tools that you're going to need to build transparency and trust with your clients, all right, and how these tools translate into more growth. So again, it's going to be fairly quick, right? So I'll give you a quick explanation of who we are, what's actually happening in the Dubai market, why investor trust should be your number one lever, and the tools that we have in order for you to look and be investor ready, which, as you understand and you already know, Dubai is heavily focused. They don't see this as oh, here's a new business. No, they see this as an investment opportunity. So you need to be very aligned with them, right? So with this said, RentalReady. So before we diving into the Dubai market, RentalReady is an all-in-one software built specifically for short-term and mid-term rental professionals. So we help property managers centralize guest communications, automate daily operations, and overall improve their owners, their relationship with the owners, right? We've been around since 2016, and today we support over 8,000 different properties across the UAE, Europe, and South America, right? So when it's automating, whether it's automating or checkings, managing tasks, or sending real-time data to investors, everything here is built to help you grow your business while saving time and staying compliant. So that's a little bit about us. So, and I told you, you can correct me later after, of course. So let's dive in. Let's dive in to see what's happening in the Dubai STR market, right? So first of all, the money is here, and let's answer why the money is actually here. So last year, there were more than 40,800 in short-term rental listings. That's actually a 26% year-on-year increase. So when investors see that, obviously they want to get in it, right? So, and it's clear why, right? The STR returns in Dubai range from 8 to 10%, which is far, far away from other maybe more mature markets like maybe London or New York, right? But, and there's always a big but, investors always want to make sure that their money is safe. At the end of the day, you're handling their investment, right? So the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, the TCM, sorry, I was having issues saying the acronyms, has made a licensing process very simple, very transparent, unlike other markets. So they're not going to find your investors any strict caps on rental lines, and just the overall operation is very flexible. So this is why many investors are coming in to Dubai, based, of course, on the conversations that I've been having. So what can we expect in short term? And Atul will show you later the numbers behind it. It's basically continued growth, right? So major investors, and this is an article that I read that came out yesterday. Major investors like Blackstone, Permira, have literally just invested 525 millions into Dubai. So this is a very clear signal of actual confidence in the market. And at the same time, Dubai's population is growing. What does that mean? That means that over time, it's going to be harder for you to find new properties to onboard because people are going to be renting and actually living in Dubai, not so much only for investment. So the message is very simple. You need to act now. So before I continue, I guess my question for you is, how are you going to take advantage of this upcoming growth, right? So hopefully at the end of this webinar, you'll know exactly what you need to do. So we're talking about Dubai, right? So still, what's happening in the Dubai market? But let's look at it more from a property management perspective. So your peers, your competitors, right? So what are the key factors? First is competition, right? Competition is tough because supply is actually growing faster than demand. And to win new clients, you need to really differentiate yourself. If you don't, just the bigger players who already have stronger systems in place, for sure they're going to be able to take those clients from you. So the natural question is, okay, how do I stand out, right? So it's a must, but it's not the only thing that you need. But and I'm talking about a website or a good sales team. Those are things that you need, but it's not only that. So what you need is to give investors hard proof that their money is safe with you, right? So this means showing them exactly how you operate and giving them full visibility on how their property is performing. Just, I don't know, if you think about it, right? If you ever invested in something, you probably want daily access to all the information that shows how your investment is doing, right? So if you don't provide that transparency, investors are going to lose trust. And when trust is gone, the deal is gone. So those are two main points. And the third point is compliance, right? So again, put yourself in the shoes of an investor. An investor is always going to look if their investment is safe. How? They might see it as a broader I don't know if it's the right way to describe it, from a geopolitical angle, right? So they're going to be researching laws, regulations to make sure that their investments are secure. So that's why actually being compliant with DTCM is extremely critical, right? So too many property managers either ignore this or manage compliance manually. And this just tends to create chaos and unnecessary risk and just overall operational pain. So just to sum this up, and before I actually show you what our tools are, if you want to stand out, you need to prove three things. First, that the investment is safe, that the investors have clear visibility into their performance, and third, that you're fully compliant with all regulations. So without those three, you're going to struggle to compete. Now, with that said, let me show you what we have for you in terms of the actual tools that we can provide. You can't see my screen right now, right? It's only the.
Yeah, I can see the rental ready dashboard now.
Oh, okay, all right, perfect. The one with the graphs, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right, perfect. Okay, so what you're looking at right now is one of these tools that your investors might ask you for to provide that visibility of what's happening in each one of their properties. So what you're looking at, they're going to have on their phone app. They can download it via Android. They can download it via iPhone. It depends on the platform that they use. But they're going to have access to see everything about their property: occupancy rate, how many booked nights, how much money are they making per month, who's currently using their property, what are the latest reviews, recent activity, how much money they're making in a daily average daily income, right? And if they want to go even further and they want to know more information about a specific property, they can go inside that app and see everything: how much income they're making, rental income, how many fees they're being charged. Payout adjustments are basically the money that it's transitioning from you as a property manager to them. Maybe, I don't know, something broke, they need to pay. So everything's going to be reflected on their app: their occupancy, average daily rates, how many reservations are they getting per each platform, the average ratings, number of ratings. So everything that they need in order to see what's going on in their properties. Also, they're going to have access to a calendar. On this calendar, they're going to be able to block properties. So forget about WhatsApp conversations like, hey, I'm going to use my property tomorrow. No, they have the access to this calendar. They can come here, mark it as unavailable for guests, and boom, it's going to be updated in all the different platforms, and you're going to have full control. So again, it's all about being a little bit more professional and structured in the way that you work. And the last part, and I think this is my favorite and our client's favorite part, is the accounting part, right? So I don't know if how many times it happens to you that your owners or investors are asking you for a particular invoice for a reservation or maintenance or something, and you have to find it in an Excel. It gets really complicated. So what we've done is we automated this. So as soon as the reservation has been made from their app, they're going to be able to go into transactions and see everything related to that. And not only that, but they will be able to download their invoice directly from here. So imagine you are talking with a client and they want you to show them how it is that they can trust you. So imagine coming up to a meeting and showing you this, like, hey, I'm going to give you an app for you to keep track of absolutely everything that's going on within your properties. But let's imagine that you want to take it even further, right? So all of our clients have access to this particular dashboard. And this dashboard, it has data from everything within your properties, right? So you're going to see all information from the bookings, from the occupancies. It's a little bit slow, so bear with me. Occupancies. So again, let's paint the picture, right? You're talking to a client and they want to make sure that you are actually going to make some money for them. So you can pop this up and say like, hey, these are the properties that I manage. Look at the occupancy rate that they have. So again, it's about building trust. It's about gaining the investors' trust that you can get their property and make them make more money, right? And this dashboard is very complete. If you want to go in deeper about ratings, quality, what are your guests saying about you? What are things that you can do better, right? So all this you're gonna get from this dashboard. And one last part, because it's not only about getting the property, it's how can we make it better. So for this, we actually use AI. So we have this tool called Property Audit, which is going to use AI and it's going to review absolutely all comments or reviews that your guests have been leaving in within a period of time. So this is going to allow you to have even a better relationship with the owner because you can create actionable things or actions to make their property make more money. So you can go up to the investor and say, okay, there are some maintenance topics that keep on coming up. Or I don't know, a lot of people are talking about cleaning aspects, or maybe there's some suggestions for you to improve for the owner. For example, there's a refurbishment needed or install elevators. And we even go to the lens of telling you home truths for listings. So how to actually make what you write on the listings pop out and make sure that you're saying all that you need to be saying to capture more attention, which again, more attention, standing out, more clients, trust, the whole picture, right? So this is how we are currently helping our property managers um, be more transparent with their investors and yeah, just provide full and more value to it. So the last part of this presentation was talking about compliance, and this is I'll keep it very short, so I've told you have time to show the numbers. So in terms of compliance, right? As you know, things since the industry is growing, there needs to be some rules, right? So we actually have integrations with two companies that allow us, or that would allow you to automate all compliance topic processes, right? So we work with check-in, and the way that check-in works is basically the guests, as soon as they arrive, they're going to send you all the information that you would ask them for, and automatically this is going to be sent to the authorities for them to have their approval. So forget about doing this manually and asking for the information and paying somebody else to actually go and send it, because through us, through check-in and this integration, that's going to be fully automated. And the other great automation that we have in terms of compliance is with keyless. So keyless in all the smart locks, automation locks, this is going to come into place. So it's something that you're going to need to focus on and make sure that you are compliant, because your investors are going to be asking for it. Again, your investors are going to do some research before actually working with you. So this is what we have, or this is what I have to show you for today. Here's our QR code if you want to take the conversation further. And yeah, it was a pleasure explaining this to all of you today. And I wish you the best of luck. So, Atul, back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Andres. Yeah, actually, really cool to see all of this. And Absolutely. With yeah, the smart locks, everything also coming into the picture now in Dubai. Again, very important and relevant topic. Wonderful. So I am going to share my screen once more and just talk a little bit about what the trends are looking like in the market for the future months, what exactly is happening. Yeah, perfect. So as Andres suggested, over the past year, listings have grown quite a bit in Dubai, and there is a slight slowdown now, but yeah, it's still growing. And what we're seeing, however, is that is occupancy is actually staying quite stable, right? Because along with supply growth, we're also seeing a good amount of demand growth, right? So if you see for the next few months, it is pacing slightly ahead. Now we can see that September is pacing at 28% right now compared to 27% last year, same time. So what we're seeing basically is that it might end up at a higher occupancy than last year's final, which was 51%. And we see that also for October, November, they're slightly pacing ahead. December onwards, it looks like it's pacing the same. But this is also because Dubai is a last minute market, right? So booking windows, we'll see in the next slide what's happening. But yeah, it is a last minute market, so we don't generally expect to see it pacing much higher. So in fact, if it's pacing on par or slightly above what it was pacing last year, it's a very good sign. Perfect. We're Although the occupancy is pacing on par and we're seeing stable occupancies, ADRs show a slightly different story, and this is good, right? ADRs are actually expected to increase by 20% in 2025 compared to the last year. So if we're looking at future 12 months, we're already seeing higher ADRs as compared to the same time last year, right? So December especially, we're seeing listings get booked at much higher prices. So last year, let's say around this time, they were getting booked at an ADR of 980 dirhams. Now the ADR looks like about 1,200 dirhams, right? Again, very good sign. And looking forward as well, we are seeing good ADRs. So on average, you could see a 20% increase in ADR. And this is the kind of thing that you need to be prepared for, right? So if you expect that the occupancies and everything is going to go pretty much similar to last year, you might end up losing out and leaving some money on the table. And as I was saying, the booking windows, though, are decreasing slightly. So we see that the booking windows would decrease by about 6%. And we're already seeing this. September dropped from when we checked 2023 to 2024. It's dropped from 7 to 5 days, October from 10 to 6 days, and even these months, August has seen an increase, which is good and kind of goes a little bit against the pattern. But on average, we see that the booking window is dropping, which means you might not get booked as far in advance, and you need to be prepared for that. So very good idea to keep note of the trends in the market compared to your own listings and understand how things are going. Okay. Length of stay, though, is increasing. Sorry. The LOS is actually expected to increase by 17%. So we're seeing longer bookings come in, which is really good. Um, yeah, so on average, people are booking, let's say, 10, 11 nights compared to 8, 9 nights that you were booking earlier. So yeah, again, very useful to capitalize on this. Possibly the minimum stay restrictions also can be adapted so that you try and get these longer bookings in advance. But as you get closer, you automatically drop to your minimum stay. And again, all of this, if you're using PriceLabs and RentalReady, it's going to be flowing through seamlessly. The minimum stays, the pricing based on the market, based on your particular neighborhood where your listing is located. Right. So overall, we're seeing very good signals for the Dubai market, right? We're seeing more growth. We're seeing stable occupancies, higher ADRs, lower booking windows, but slightly longer length of stays, which overall shows that there is a steady and stable market that is investor friendly. But there's going to be quite a bit of variation in the market. And this is where it's important to use the best technology, which will allow you to adapt and react to these variations in the market. So Price Labs based on your market data, your hyper local recommendations for your specific neighborhood that your listing is located in. It will give you the best prices and the best minimum stay recommendations. Yeah. Perfect. And I want to announce that we have an exclusive promo for all customers who are using Rental Ready and Price Labs together. So yeah, we are offering on Price Labs subscription a 15% discount for the first 3 months. As Andre said, you have to act now. So the promo is valid for the next month. So anyone who's signing up from Rental Ready to Price Labs within the next month till 10th October, you're going to get 15% off for the first 3 months of your subscription. Perfect. That's all from me. I think we may have gone slightly over time, but thank you all for joining in. If you have any questions, anything that you'd like to know more about, please let us know in the Q&A section. All right. Andres, any closing thoughts, anything you want to add in?
No, act now. I think is the big thing. Act now. Don't wait for later. You might miss the boat.
Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect, Adol.
Thanks everyone for joining in. Thanks, Andres, for your time. It was
No, thank you.
great co-hosting the session with you. And yeah,
Same here.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.